Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us back here at Nevada Explorations channel. We're sitting here once again with James, and in case you guys didn't notice, looks like James is somewhere new. James, tell us where you are and what's going on.
Yeah, morning, Michael. I'm at the Geologic Society of Nevada Symposium here in Reno.
Interesting. Tell us a bit about that symposium. That only happens like once every 5 years, correct?
It's a once every 5 year get together. It's actually been 7 years because of COVID. We had to push it back. And yeah, every geo in the state basically here, all the majors. It's 4 days of technical talk for everyone and everything that's happening in Nevada.
So tell us why you would go to this convention, what you plan on gaining when you go there.
It's sort of twofold. One, we look back for the last 5 years, how have we performed as a group, and then really looking forward for the next 5 years. What are we going to do to continue to try and get better?
Wonderful. So I think now we should kind of just turn our attention to like Nevada in general, right? So why is Nevada so important in terms of gold production?
Well, here in the States, 80% of the US gold production comes here from Nevada. It's about 5% globally, which sounds a little bit small, but when you consider what a small area, most of that production comes from north central Nevada, and there's really nowhere on the planet that produces so much gold from such a small area. So it's important globally and obviously very important here in the States.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense if it's pretty much the vast majority of our production here in the U.S. And so now that you're at the convention, like what big themes are emerging when you look at the past 5 years, and then like looking forward, what themes do you see coming next?
Maybe to start on a bit of a negative, the reality here is production in Nevada in terms of gold production has really been crashing since the late 90s, where the state was producing about 10 million ounces per year. It's down to about 5 million ounces per year. So that's about a 50% drop. And so we're at a place now where Nevada's producing more gold than it's finding each year. And that's just translating to production not being where it was. And so, yeah, what are we going to do to turn that around is really the big theme here.
Interesting. What would you credit this to? Does COVID have any layer of blame on this, or it sounds like it was kind of something a long time coming?
The timeline between finding something and putting something into production, if everything goes perfectly, you're talking about a decade. So 2 decades of production really speaks to what's happened over the last 3 decades of exploration. And that is after a really important period through the late 80s of finding large new Carlin deposits. After that big run up, once everyone figured out what to look for, really, what was sticking out of the ground has been found. And so really, despite more people, more money, 3 decades of really good exploration, the low-hanging fruit has been found, and that's what we see in the data.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Well, James, I think before we go, can you give us just a short tour of the expo thing you have set up behind you there?
Okay, absolutely. We've got our boxes of core here. This is pretty fun because Barrick's brought all their core from their most recent discovery called 4 Mile, and it's pretty gaudy how high grade it is. It's going to be probably the highest grade deposit in the world, and they brought core here that runs 300 grams per ton. So that's that's close to 10 ounces per ton.
Yeah.
And what's really fun is we can take our core here from our current project at Southgrass Valley, and it's basically indistinguishable, and that's good in one sense because host rocks are certainly really important, but it's also really great to have a chance to talk to them and see what does it look like 100 feet away from the deposit, 200 feet away. What sort of clues can we use to vector in our project? So the fact that we all get to come together, bring our core together, and have a chance to talk together, it's unfortunate that only every 5 years, but we're all happy to be here.
Yeah, James. Well, thanks for the short tour. If you happen to catch any other photos or videos, we'd be happy to share them with everybody. And if anyone has any questions for James about the expo, let us know, and we'll happily dive into it further. But for now, do you have any closing words before we go?
Well, we haven't really talked about the next 5 years, and I think there is a bright future here in Nevada. Half of the state sits out underneath these big valleys that haven't really been looked at. So the theme for the next couple of days is is really about how to go looking undercover and what sort of tools we can do to reverse the trend. So there's still a lot of place here in Nevada, about half of the state yet to look at, and so we've got a lot of new tools that we're all talking about here to go undercover and find what we all believe is the second half of Nevada's gold endowment. So there's lots of good happening here too.
Wonderful. Well, I hope the rest of the symposium goes great. Let us know how things go, and everybody stay tuned for an update on it as soon as it comes along the wire. For now, James, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Michael.